Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. And good morning to you folks in Brownsville on 1520 AM and 95.3 FM, and in Jackson on News Talk 101.5, and right here in Memphis on AM 790, 92.9 HD FM. Of course, right here in Memphis, we're on from 9 to 10:30, and we appreciate you listeners out there. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving last weekend, and I'm happy to report that I did kill a deer on Tuesday. Now, there's meat in the freezer, and, of course, I took it to Dave Payne's place there in Galloway. But it's that time again to check in with Jeremy Dennison, our good friend TWRA CWD Field Deer Coordinator. Good morning, Jeremy.
Hey, good Saturday morning, Mr. Larry. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. And again, we have the double interpreters with me, Gene Smith.
Good morning.
There he is. He's still here. And another one of your old compadres. I shouldn't say old. He's a young pup, Dave Gabbard.
I remember when Jeremy was the young pup.
Oh, you do? Well, Jeremy's still Jeremy's still a young pup to me,
Yeah.
When you're 80 and you kill a deer, I was so sore the next day, I didn't think I was going to be able to get out of bed after pulling that thing around and everything. But, Jeremy, let's talk a little bit, because we had Dave Payne on earlier in the show from the processor's angle, and he said he did 55 deer on Monday because he was closed 3 days. And then he said he did 500.
500. It's hard to believe.
Up to Thanksgiving.
Opening day, yeah.
Yeah. Then he was snowed under, and then and when I went by on Tuesday with my deer, man, they were slinging them back and forth. So let's talk numbers right now.
Yeah, my staff, we interact with a lot of deer processors, and I can tell you that's the one thing we hear is how full and how busy they are. So that's a good thing in many ways. I know. It kind of gets frustrating when you're trying to find one that's open to take it. Our statewide deer harvest is looking good. To date, we've killed about 98,000 deer in the state, and that's about 62,000 of those are bucks and 33,000 does. So, just to tell you kind of where we are in the
what about that ratio? I mean, Dave's listening in on this too. 2 to 1 here. I mean, bucks to does.
And that may swing as we finish up the season.
I think it will. Yeah. People will get that bag limit of bucks, and then with the freedom that we have in the CWD unit, which we've just added another county, right, Jeremy?
Well, we added a positive county, not to the hunting unit, but we did add an additional county this past week. We got notified of a new positive in Lewis County, which is Region 2 county for us.
Yeah. So the 2 to 1 population, I think, us in Unit CWD, where I hunt in Fayette County and I hunt in Hardeman County, and I was checking the numbers on both of those, and of course we can always count on Sumner and Montgomery and those counties over Middle Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Almost 2,000 in those counties. And I was looking at my county, which is Hardeman, 1428. But then I know, and Dave Payne knows this also, you can hunt. Well, I'm looking at it right here. I started on October the 30th, and I can, other than throwing in the young sportsman hunt in the middle of in January, I can hunt till the end of January for does.
Absolutely. If you're in a unit CWD county, if you're in that group of counties that's in the hunting guide there, you can go all the way to the end of January. So plenty of opportunity to fill that freezer up and shoot some does to donate for Hunters for the Hungry and
that's
other
what
organizations.
We're going to talk about that on next week's show about the Hunters for the Hungry program that our good folks at Tennessee Wildlife Federation will do that. But when I saw that 2 to 1 and almost 98,000, we can say close to 100,000. We still got a good population. I'm seeing lots of deer.
Absolutely. I think the population is still very, very, very strong, especially in Southwest Tennessee where you are.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason for the more liberal bag limits over there is because that population is so stout. I guess most of West Tennessee is probably seen or is seeing the peak of the rut right about now. And here in the next week or so, those folks down in kind of southern part of Southwest Tennessee, that generally the rut down there happens a little bit later. So still plenty of action to be witnessed out there.
Well, and again, we're talking to Jeremy Dennison, TWRA CWD Field Deer Coordinator. What about CWD deer? Are we getting some checked in, or are we? What's
Absolutely.
the latest?
Yeah, we've so for Region 1, that's the kind of the crew that I work with. We've tested about 6,700 deer out of the harvest so far. We've got 160 positives to date. That's pretty much right on track where we have been to date. Most of those are in Fayette and Hardeman County, and we've got just a few here or there in those counties that surround Fayette and Hardeman. The new county there, that's definitely a change for us over in Lewis County. So they are automatically added to the CWD management zone. That's for the feeding and transportation regs. So
all right.
Those folks may venture across the river there to hunt from our area. Just make sure that that you're up to date and see what those regulations look like for you.
And Dave was telling us, Dave Payne was, and when I was there Tuesday, they're getting some really healthy deer. I didn't ask him about CWD, but I know all your deer processors have a format that they have to check and make sure, and they report it all to you. And then I'm looking at numbers, and Dave Gabbard, join in on this because you live in Lexington. And are you seeing deer, Dave, out your place?
I'm seeing deer. A lot of the deer are still, that Jeremy knows, we had a bumper acorn crop this year.
Yeah, okay.
And there's still, you don't see as many deer out in the fields right now because they're back, but here in the next week or so, those acorns started falling in September.
Yeah.
And what they haven't cleaned up and what the other critters haven't cleaned up, it's that they're going to start, we get some wet weather and stuff, the acorns, they're going to go bad, ferment and stuff. So you're going to start seeing more out in the fields. But, talking about Thanksgiving, we drove up to my son's place. He lives on the outside of Louisville, and the way I go, I take the scenic route, up through the Trace and up through the land between the lakes and hit the parkways and go up that way. Between my house and his house, I counted 35 squash deer on the road.
Squash deer. I don't think I've heard that expression before for alongside the road. That usually tells me the rut zone.
That's right.
If you're finding them like that, and we have the same deal, because I hunt right out of Whiteville in that area there, and we've seen a lot of we're not seeing a lot of deer in the field. There are a lot of them are down in the bottoms of the hatchy bottoms and things along that line. But I know last weekend all them duck hunters were out blasting away. I either thought that or some deer hunter had some kind of gun that he was missing deer with, when they were doing that. So the figures, that's a lot of testing deer. 6,700 deer you guys have tested. Is that right?
That's right. We rely real heavily on partners like Dave Payne there, Dave's Deer Processing, and others. A lot of the processors there in West Tennessee, they really help us to get our hands on that number of samples. So we certainly appreciate them and all the hardworking people that make that number possible.
What about that 160 positive? Is that about normal from last year? I mean, are we? We're not. That doesn't seem like a whole lot out of 6,700 deer.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty much on pace. I wouldn't want to make a guess. I guess I should have figured that before I talked to you.
Well, that's okay. That just felt like to test that many. And a lot of people are saying, well, how do they test them? I know you've explained this to us before, Jeremy, but I think some of the listeners might not pick up on this. The processors will contact you, or how does that work?
Well, we've made contact with everybody that we work with, and basically made arrangements to pick up the spent heads after they process.
Okay, yeah.
They'll tag those for us. We've got some processors that actually collect the sample for us. The ones we pick up, we take those to Jackson to our work base, along with all the deer heads that are submitted through our freezer drop-off program. And then we've got a crew of folks that are working Monday through Friday, basically getting those samples full and getting them processed and getting them out to the lab. And right now, turnaround time is just 10 or 11 days on average.
Really?
I got my results today from one that I submitted, one of my son's deer.
Yeah.
I've got one in the hopper too. So 10 or 11 days is what it's taking right now. So that's an improvement over years past.
It sure is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you're checking your own son's deer, that's pretty cool. You got
that's right.
You got inside track there. Well, we appreciate it, Jeremy, taking time again, and we'll probably check with you next month. We've got to keep this going, buddy. All right.
Have you lit the pilot light on the new piece of equipment?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going. Yes, sir.
It's going. If y'all want to go see it, drop by it. I mean, look, go to the tnwildlife.org. There's a lot of information. You got your own website too, right? What is that?
Well, I always say CWD in Tennessee, and that'll get you to a whole lot of about what we do. So
that's what it is. All right, Jeremy. Thank you. Have a great weekend, buddy. We'll stay in touch. All right.
Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, Gene.
All right.
Pop it on me again.
The little boy is sitting on Grandpa's knee, and he
Yeah.
said, Grandpa, at my age, could you name the presidents? He said, it wasn't but 5.
There wasn't but 5.
Yeah, Grandpa was old.
Oh, Dave, hang on. We're rolling now. We're getting ready to talk to a
Archer.
not
Yeah.
just any archer.
I'm telling
A
you.
gold medal archer. We'll be
I
right
know.
back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.